teach us cutting edge, how to conduct cutting edge in the classes. I'd love to read some about Nick Dawson. He has worked in education for more than 50 years, it says here. But you don't look that old, I believe.
I feel that old.
He has worked as a learner, teacher, and teacher trainer. His teaching experience extends through age groups from 7 to 77, like Barış Manço, in many different countries around the world. You're going to Colombia after Turkey?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And then Slovenia after Colombia.
Yeah, he travels a lot in September. And he has written or contributed to over 50 publications of methodology, language practice, video, dictionary skills, tests, homework, self-study, and interactive learning. His main interest is in how students of different ages learn and sometimes fail to learn. So I hope you'll learn and benefit a lot from his teaching today. So thank you very much for coming here.
Okay, thank you.
The stage is yours.
Thank you. Okay, what we're going to do to start, just to give you an introduction to cutting edge, I think it would be a good idea to look at a video of the authors introducing the materials. They are going to, I notice that you have intermediate level there.
Yes,
you will see Sarah Cunningham sitting down and speaking to camera, and you will see Peter Moore actually teaching a lesson. Sarah was sitting down because whilst they were producing this series of books, they were also producing children. And Sarah wrote, Sarah's contributions to these books were at the same time as she was constantly being pregnant and producing children and producing children and producing children. It is quite remarkable that people manage to do both things at the same time. So anyway, let's have a look at this video. The video is quite short. The unit, the module which Peter is using in his lesson is a module from Cutting Edge Intermediate. It's the module about, with the task, which refers to the people going to Ireland and talking about a tour of Ireland, and then the students have to work out a tour for tourists who are going to their own country. So the class that he's working with is a class much smaller than the classes that you teach, partly because we need to, when we are making the video, we need to have lights and cameras and things in the classroom, and therefore you can't have so many students in the classroom. So there is a degree of artificiality, but I think that you will see the way in which Peter is actually teaching the task and setting up the task. So let's ignore this for the time being. Do you know how to? Yes, you do. Thanks.
Hello, my name's Sarah Cunningham and I'm one of the authors of Cutting Edge, a new general English course for adults and young adults. What makes Cutting Edge different is that alongside a solid grammar and lexical syllabus, it provides a practical approach to task-based learning. What we mean by a task is an extended oral activity which has some kind of end product or outcome. Cutting Edge carefully prepares students for tasks, building up their confidence, and in this way enabling them to speak at greater length, and so to make real progress. We're going to see how a task works in class. In this task, students have to design a tour of their country or region. This task has been preceded by grammar work on comparative and superlative adjectives and vocabulary work on describing towns and cities. Students are prepared for the task with a model. This is how the lesson begins.
Today, you're going to plan and talk about a tour of your country. But first, I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, do you know this country here? Where is it?
Close to Sweden.
What's the name? Ireland, okay. Anybody been there? Okay. Tell me anything you know about Ireland, anything at all.
Maybe they are very Catholic.
Okay.
Guinness.
Say again?
Guinness.
What's Guinness?
It's very dark, very dark and bitter. Bitter taste.
Good. Do you like it? Okay. Okay. Now, can you open your books at page 32? And you will see a fact file about Ireland. Can you read the fact file and check if your information was correct?
But also use his or her own model, make up a tour about a country or region that he or she knows well, and describe it to the students. Either way, the students will need some useful language that they can use when they come to do their own tours. Phrases like, such and such a place is worth a visit, or it's famous for... The teacher needs to draw attention to phrases like this so that students will be able to use them themselves in their own tours.
So, one phrase you can use if you want to give advice or to recommend something is, you should definitely visit Oxford. You should definitely visit Oxford. Repeat?
You should definitely visit Oxford.
Good, okay. Well,
You should definitely visit Oxford.
good, okay. Nico?
You should definitely visit Oxford.
You should definitely visit Oxford.
Good. Everybody?
You should definitely visit Oxford.
Okay.
There's also a personal vocabulary box. The personal vocabulary box is there for students to write in any vocabulary they need in order to do the task. For example, when I was teaching this task,
And write the word or phrase in your personal vocabulary box. Now, I'm going to ask you to make a little map of your country, to mark in the places for the tour, and to give a little bit of information about each place, but don't write everything. Now, I want you to think, when you make up your tour, that you're making it for a specific group of people. Can you look in your book at the picture here, the bottom picture with the family? Okay, there's a picture of a family there. You've got to think of a perfect 7-day holiday for that family. Okay, for mum and dad and the 3 kids. Money is no problem, okay? So they can travel any way they want, okay? First class. I'll give you about 20 minutes to prepare your tour, and then you're going to talk about it in your group.
while the students are planning their tours, the teacher goes around helping with any problems or language they need.
How do you feel when you're in the desert and you find a place with water, call that?
Desert is oasis.
Oasis, like a rock star.
Like the rock group, yes, that's great. Yes.
Can I say the Tokyo is famous for electric industry?
Can we say Tokyo is famous for its electronics industry? Electronics industry. Okay, good.
When describe their tours. They can either work in groups or speak to the whole class. The other students should be encouraged to comment and ask questions, and then at the end of the lesson they can choose the best or the most original tour.
Here we have Chile, South America, Argentina. Santiago is in the middle of the country. You can stay a few days in Santiago. We have a lot of discotheque or nightclub. It's a very nice city. It's very good.
You go to Brazil. You go to Fortaleza, stay there 7 days. It's lovely there because there are many beaches.
Go to Madrid. Madrid is the capital of Spain, and you should definitely see the Prado Museum. And for example, you can see paintings of Murillo, Goya, Velázquez. It's very interesting.
Berlin is our capital city, and something about history. Some years ago, it was separated into two parts, East and West, and there was a border between East and West. And some years ago,
I wrote down some language points. We're going to look at some of the language that you used while you're doing your presentation. Here are some sentences, some phrases that I heard while you were speaking. Can you look at these phrases and decide if you think they're correct or not?
The approach used in this lesson benefits students in a number of ways. Firstly, it engages students in realistic tasks which are worth doing in themselves, and this of course is very motivating. Secondly, it enables students to say what they want to say. And thirdly, it stretches students and encourages them to raise their game, and in this way make real progress.
Okay, that's it. Can you switch off? Yeah, thanks. All right. What did you think of that? Any comments?
It's so similar to what we do in the classes.
Very, very similar to what you do in class. Oh, that's good. That's very good. Very good. What we're going to do in the first session today is we will have a sort of general review of the task types. Then I'm going to set you a task to work on in groups. But not everybody will be working on the task. Because one of the aspects of the use of tasks in cutting edge, which I think that in this context you need to stress as much as the tasks themselves, is the follow-up from the task. And the follow-up in many different ways, in terms of the follow-up in terms of language. I mean, looking at the language used during the task, the language which was used successfully, the language which was used unsuccessfully, the possibility that with different language, with a different use of language, that the task would have been more successful than it was. But also looking at how to work in groups, how to plan, looking at how the students working together in groups, how they plan their work, how they delegate their work, they decide who is going to do what, how they decide who is actually going to do the presentation, how they plan the presentation, and how they script the presentation. So what we are doing is at the same time as some students, or in this case you, at the same time as some people are working on the task, others are going to be observing the group, looking for the language which is being used inside the group, but also looking for the group dynamic. Are the students actually working on the task in the most efficient way? Are they thinking about better ways of working to be able to produce either a higher quality of result, or the same result easier, I mean with less work. I think that all of you are aware of the fact that all of your students work very, very hard indeed, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are all very, very hard-working students. The problem is that some of the students who work hardest actually get rather poor results because the way in which they work is actually not very efficient and not very effective in learning or in developing their language. So, as well as carrying out these tasks and using the tasks for developing language, we also use the task as a way to examine the learning process, the planning process, thinking about how to remember language and things like this. So there will be an aspect of learner training in the tasks as well as the language aspects. So, what I'm going to be doing then is an overview of the task types, the relationships between topics and tasks, and academic sub-skills, the approach to productive skills, especially writing. Now, the reason I say especially writing is because, as you have observed, in Cutting Edge, the main focus of each module is an extended speaking task. Now, in terms of student outcome, probably you are more interested actually in written outcome than in spoken outcome. Is this the case?
No, not really.
Not really.
No.
Not really. Okay. So I would say probably much more of a balance, we would say, between being able to speak and being able to write. So what we'll be looking at is the relationship between the planning process for an oral presentation, an extended piece of oral work, and the planning which should lead to writing as well, producing written work. And then we'll be talking about supplementing Cutting Edge. Okay, the main tasks in a unit or module lead to extended oral production. In most contexts, oracy precedes literacy. That is to say that people develop their oral skills in the language before they learn to read and write at the same level in the language. So it's quite natural that we should choose an extended speaking task before targeting an extended writing task. All tasks, though, have the potential for written exploitation as well as the oral presentation. And you can see from the example that we saw there, that presentation about a planned tour could be done very, very easily as a piece of written work in the same way as it was done as an extended oral activity. Now, this is the task that we're going to try. It appears on page 42 of Cutting Edge Intermediate. In this context, I mean the context of the book, it is what is called a pre-task. That is to say, a task which is training the students towards the larger task which they're going to do later on. The reason I've chosen this one is that it is small and it is portable and it is a task which doesn't really take too long to do. What we are going to do, though, is to do this task, as I said, with groups of you working together on the task and then other individuals working as observers on the group. So, how many people have we got here, roughly?
Over 40.
More than 40. Okay. I think that 6 is probably large enough for a working group. So, 6 is into 40, goes 6 is a 36. Nearly 7. Then I think, can we form 5 groups of 6 people? 5 groups of 6 people. This clearly means that there are going to be people left over.
Are we going to use those rubber to singers? If there's anybody famous, singers, writers.
Okay. If I could just interrupt people over here. We have 3 groups here, and we have 2 groups here. Therefore, you are going to be the most important people in the team, because you are going to be the observers. Okay? If your family name begins between A and L, your family name begins with A and L. Okay, fine. What I want you to do is to be a language observer. So I want you to go around and choose a group, sit with that group, and make a note of all of the language forms that they are using when they're carrying out the task. Okay? Look, wait a second before you do it. Now the other people, the N to Z people, I want you to observe the group dynamics.
Let's choose group. Let's paint people, and then we can put one group.
Dictators, you know, who are immediately taking control of the situation.
What's the title?
Discussion.
Okay.
Not given a chance to suggest their ideas. Have you got any?
Shocked them, huh?
So quiet.
He was about those Turkish
but are they also three European folks on how they are
4 or 5 teacups.
How many dynamics observers do we have?
Let's choose a title first of all, and then we choose the people.
Okay, so you're going to be dynamics, fine. So choose yourself a
Great poets, great homosexuals, Mungan.
Can I have your attention, please? Yes. I need to have your attention, please. I need to have your attention. Okay. Just to remind you what the task is. The situation is that the government, your government, has decided to issue a set of postage stamps of famous people. You are on the committee which decides, or in this case, you are the committee, the group. You are the committee which decides who to put on the stamps and why. Working groups of 3 or 4, you're a bit more. First decide on the title for your set of stamps. The title might be Great Spanish, or in this case Turkish, women, or great scientists or writers or singers of the 20th century, or choose a title of your own. Now, if you don't want to do famous people, then you could do famous places, or you could do famous flowers, or you could do famous vegetables, or whatever you think would be nice to go on the stamp. The important thing that you have to notice about the four stamps which you have to design, is that one of the stamps is worth 100 cents. Probably in Turkish terms, that should be 100 million cents. But, one is worth 100 cents, the other one 80, then 60, then 40. Now, deciding on, okay, you've decided, let us say, on your overall title. When you decide on which one, or which individual, we might say, in that group is the most important, will you necessarily put that person on the 100-cent stamp? Probably not, because the cost of posting a letter is 60 cents. So the most frequently used stamp is the 60-cent stamp. It's not the 100. You know, the 100-cent stamp is used if you are posting a packet or a video or something like this. So the most frequently used stamp is going to be the 60-cent stamp, and the 40-cent stamp used to make 60 up to 100 and so on and so forth. So that is the task, okay? That is the task. Let's now think about the outcome. The outcome is that when you have completed the task, I want, and you can decide how you do this, either 4 people to present the set of stamps, each presenting one stamp, or 1 person presenting a report on the work of the committee. Now, a report on the work of the committee means that you're going to be talking about not only the conclusions that you came to, but how you came to those conclusions. Okay, why you happen to decide that you would choose famous Turkish insects to put on your stamps. I mean, if that is what you choose. So we are interested in, obviously we're interested in the stamps that you produce, but we are interested also in your planning of the presentation which you are going to give. Now, please do not suddenly choose somebody in the group and say, okay, you can do the presentation, and then leave the preparation of the presentation entirely up to that person. I did this with a group of university teachers in Northern Cyprus earlier, and the person chosen to give the presentation actually gave the presentation of her favourite stamps, not the stamps which had been agreed by the committee, because she had not been, there had been no planning of the presentation. So plan for your stamps, but also plan for the presentation. How the presentation is going to be done, how it's going to be structured. Think in terms of introduction, presentation, and giving reasons for your decisions, and so on and so forth. Okay, it is now 11:25. I hope that you would take 15 minutes to decide on your stamps and to have chosen somebody or a group of people to do the presentation. Those people should have a script for the presentation. Not necessarily a written script, but an idea.
Is it going to be something to do with Turkey?
Yes.
Are you agreeing it's
Turkish flag.
We have to know what country it's something to do with Turkey.
Well, greatest what? Greatest men, women, greatest leaders, greatest sportsmen. We could do greatest sportsmen.
You could do, well, sports, any other track runners.
Not so many famous runners in Turkey. Today say one runner, one basketball player, one footballer, one tennis player maybe.
Yes.
Sports category or women.
It's a good idea.
Model
Turkish teachers, the greatest Turkish teachers.
Now you see stamps are used locally and internationally, so it's something nice for
These
you.
have to be recognised abroad. And
Why is that? Does it have to be?
yeah, we could advertise Sibel Jalabert
Everyone, you get it. A real artist.
Playing outside.
There's a whole lot more. And worldwide,
It's a unique place. It is exactly unique.
You should definitely see it.
It's not only actually because it is another interesting cave. Now it's one of the most common ones, so we put it on the 60 cents tag. There's only one more 60 cents.
Let's draw Olympus, let's draw Zeus. Why? Let's draw Zeus.
60 cents and we want
Or how about urges? What part of the galaxy?
Oh, we can have this Strassel.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, alright. Something well known in the galaxy of ages ago.
Let's draw the Quds. I've never been to
Can I just interrupt you? I think it might be useful for you to know how the other groups are getting on.
So we I'm going to
Okay, the group over there, have you decided on your theme?
They have decided on there.
Okay, and have you decided on the images for the 4 stamps?
Yeah.
Because when I was there, you had only decided on 100 cents.
No.
That was about 30 seconds ago.
They have already done it.
Okay, fine. The group over here, how are you getting on?
Well, we've chosen what to go on what stamp. They're being published right now at the moment. They're being published. Oh yes.
Okay, this group.
We're going to for issue.
Maybe
we can say according
You've got the pictures. Okay, so now planning the presentation. Okay, fine. This group, how are you
The
getting
more
on?
expensive it takes to visit that maybe the more expensive it takes to buy.
Great. This group over here. It
doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
I'm more of a great
why have we chosen
I don't know, yeah, that's why.
Why?
Because
Ice hockey because
It's one of the world's most
the monuments in the world.
They can not. They can work as
And why was everyone
Why not some stars down the tower?
why not help us. Symbol of environment.
You have 90 seconds to finish. 90 seconds. You already have
60. Why Cappadocia? Why? Okay, just go like the center of Anatolia, actually. The center of
How much is on the top?
a cure. The fortress put into the dam.
Stop work.
Symbol of Symbol of
Can you stop work, please?
So I made it the cheapest.
Okay, will you all now stand up, walk out into that room, turn around 3 times, come back, and sit with somebody who was not in your group?
observers.
Including observers, yeah. A group that we went together. Teaching, which is perhaps rare for you. What I want you to do over the next minute is not to make eye contact with anybody else in the room, so look down. And for 1 minute, I want you to plan how you are going to tell the person sitting next to you about what happened in your group. So for 1 minute, just think of the language and how you are going to plan to tell the other person about what happened in your group. Okay, that 1 minute is complete. Can you now turn to the person who you are sitting with who is not in your group, and obviously not both speaking at the same time, but can the one who is older tell the one who is younger? The one who is younger tell the person who is older. And turn your chair so that you're more or less facing this direction. Okay, we have come to the dreaded time of the presentations. And during the presentations, obviously some poor people are going to have to come up here and use the flip chart in order to present the report on what their group has been doing. Once they are presenting, what are the rest of you going to do? Sleep. Okay, what are you going to do?
Listen.
Listen, right? I mean, if you were doing this in class, what would you want your students to be doing whilst the presentation was taking place?
Maybe taking notes.
Listening, perhaps note-taking, with a view to asking questions at the end. I mean, rather than interrupt the presentation, actually making notes for things that you might want to ask questions about at the end, at question time, which formally comes at the end of the presentation. What other things might you ask the students to listen for?
If there are for and against the presentation.
Okay, can you explain a bit more what you mean by that?
During the presentation, I could ask my students to write some students why the other group has chosen these. If my students are for or against, they have to choose their questions related to their thinking.
Yeah, this is sort of extending further into the topic.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in here is much more the process. I think that at this level, at intermediate level, we can be asking the students also, they're taking notes obviously of the content for asking questions and things like this, but students might also be asking themselves, well, how could that presentation have been done better? How, if I was doing that presentation, if I had been in that group, how would I have done that presentation in a different way? So you can think of those aspects, because the thing about these presentations is that they are not competitive. The groups are not competing against each other, and the class is not a group of 45 individuals, each of which wishes to kill all of the other 44. This is not a competitive operation. It is a cooperative operation, because what we are trying to do in this work that we're doing together is work out how we can have the most efficient way of organizing the group, the most efficient way of planning the discussion, the most efficient way of putting together a script, the most efficient way of preparing a presentation, and so on. We are not interested in being better than each other. We are interested in being better than we were yesterday. Than we were yesterday. Than all of us were yesterday. We are interested in group improvement as well as personal improvement. We are not interested in being better than the person sitting next to us. So, put your knives away, as they say when you get on the aeroplanes. Knives, scissors, etc. Put it in the hole, not in your hand baggage. Okay, the first presentation is going to be done by the person. Just think, do you know if you are doing a presentation?
Yes.
You know? Okay, when's your birthday?
28th of February.
28th of February. Goodness me, you are very young. Okay, fine, you can start.
No, but I'm not doing it.
Oh, you're not doing it?
No one can make me do it.
Who in your group is doing the presentation?
Mr. Rafiq.
Mr. Rafiq, okay.
July.
6th of July. Okay, 6th of July is a wonderful day. Wonderful day for having a presentation and for having a birthday. So please, come and do your presentation. You can use the whiteboard if you wish.
We haven't got board mics.
Yeah, speak for about 3 to 4 minutes or something. I mean, we're not interested in a lot.
Okay. Okay, now I'll take four of your valuable minutes. Okay. Our group, 6 people. Well, it was a committee. Okay, and we had lots of power. We can decide what to put on our stamps. So we made a very quick run through topics. We can put famous people. We can put famous places. We can put famous insects. We can put anybody. We even thought of famous gays. Right. Everything we could think of, we made a list of that. Okay. And then finally we came up with the 4 best. Because we have 4 stamps. Right? Eliminating the others, we came up with the 4 best. And we said, okay, let's choose people. And we said, well, these stamps might not only go onto the local envelopes across the street, they might go to other cities, they might go to other countries. Not might, they will. So let's do famous places, okay? The most practical, most famous places. And we said, okay, all of us agreed, famous places. Right, and we made another list, famous places in Turkey. We thought about Istanbul, we thought about Cappadocia, and we have, out of all those, we have 4. Mount Nemrut, Pamukkale, Damlataş, and Cappadocia. Right? And we can get nice pictures of these and put them on our stamps. Now comes to which picture on which stamp. Right? That was a bit difficult deciding because they're all worth visiting. They're all worth visiting. All these places are worth visiting. And we couldn't decide actually which is the most, which is the best place. So we thought, okay, let's think about the capacity of that place. Let's think about the convenience of that place. Okay? We said, well, Damlataş is almost history, so it's quite valuable for people to revive that. Let's not lose that history. I think it's a river or something that's a dam that's going to cover the place. I'm not so sure, but in the group, that's what we came up with. We said, well, Damlataş, let's put it on the international stamps, the 100-cent stamps. Because when you're sending parcels abroad and something, you need more stamps. Okay, so we put that on the 100-cent stamps. And then we went on to the most commonly used stamps, the 60-cent stamp. And we chose we chose Cappadocia for that. Why? Why did we choose Cappadocia? Well, It's quite convenient. It's in the center of Turkey. Most people can go, and 60-cent stamps are most commonly used locally. All right. So we put that one there, and then we went on to the 80-cent stamp for, sorry, the Pamukkale for the 80-cent stamp, and Mount Nemrut for the 100-cent stamp. Now Mount Nemrut, 100-cent stamp. If you ask us why, well, they're all visiting, but Mount Nemrut is very high, so we put the 100-cent stamp high, both of them high, and that's why we put it there. Okay. And that was our conclusion, actually.
What is the name of the title?
Yeah, the title, the topic, Unseen Dreams. Alright, Unseen Dreams, not Turkey, international, Unseen Dreams. Yeah, and it was worth it. It was really nice. We liked our product. That's it. Thank you. Any questions? Or comments? How did you find the presentation?
It's interesting that you made this choice because, I mean, particularly Mount Nemrut, Nemrut, because that is the feature article in this month's in-flight magazine for Turkish Airlines. I mean, looking at the carvings, I think the ancient carvings and things they found there. Okay, thanks very much indeed. Linguistically, what did you notice linguistically about that report? I mean, there was a lot of reported speech in there, which was very good, very nicely done. Lots of talking about options and possibilities. We thought that we could do this, we could do that, and so on. And then talking about what we could do, and then talking about what we did, and the contrast between what you can do and what you do. So what we could do, we decided we could do this, we could do that, we could do that, and then we decided to do this. And it was a very nice linguistic contrast. And that pattern occurred about 3 or 4 times in the presentation, which was very, very interesting. Okay, any other comments on the presentation?
The stages were clear enough to follow up.
It would have been nice to see pictures, but you know, within this context, I mean, you know, you can't do it. But I mean, if you were doing this with your students and they had, you know, a day between doing the, you know, planning the presentation and giving it, then I would have expected the students to have cut pictures out of magazines or something like that to do this. Okay, great. Thanks very much indeed. You are July the 6th?
26th.
26th. Okay. Anyone else in July? Okay.
Oh, mine is June, sorry.
June?
Yeah.
June is even better. So, please, come up and do your work.
Okay. How can I pretend that before? Okay, a small mistake was leading me to the stage area. Yeah, when we first started thinking about what we could have as the theme, we just, you know, started to think about some places in Turkey, some people in Turkey lived back in the history, and some other things. But we just thought, you know, Turkey has been improving lately in many fields, like in sports and in some other politics maybe. And we just thought we can go back to some history and bring it to our future. And thought that our title could be Turkish Successes, but late Turkish successes. And we had some names succeeded in different fields, mostly sports, but that's also fine. And we just thought of first Süreyya Ayhan, our runner, and she would go to, oh, it's not here. She would go to 40-cent stamp because of her success. And we have for 60-cent stamp who's scoring the fastest goal in the world. Who was he? Hakan Şükür? Yes. He goes to 60-cent stamp. It was 11 seconds, right? Yeah, so he goes there. And for Eurovision, we have 80-cent stamp, and Fazıl Say 100-cent stamps. So these are the people succeeded in many fields in Turkey, and it shows that Turkey will be improving in the future also. So we chose these people. That's it. All right. Thank you very much.
Before you go away, questions? Before you go away,
yeah, any questions?
I mean, I've got some objections, but nothing to talk about. Hakan Şükür actually is not an appropriate name to use.
Why not?
Well, we must talk about some national people, not Galatasaray.
But Galatasaray did not succeed. It succeeded, but the one ranking third in the World Cup was.
But the name is the problem, okay? The name.
The title, you didn't mention the title.
Oh, here comes Turkey.
what did you think of the choice of stamps? Good choice?
Yes.
I didn't like the idea of football being praised too much.
I thought that there was no evidence amongst the report. The report of the committee that they had thought about the fact that Turkey is made up of both men and women, and that both men and women should be represented on the set of stamps.
There is a
but was that actually something which came up in the committee? That was that a conscious decision, or was it just by chance that this happened?
By chance.
We didn't have many choices there.
I'm sorry.
Turkey, as we didn't have that many choices. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now we've just had the June birthday.
Yeah.
What date in June? What date in June?
5th of June.
The 5th of June. Was anyone else born around the 5th of the month?
11th of June.
11th of June. Are you doing the presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, Colin, come on. I call him Colin because you've got it written on your t-shirt.
First of all, I regret to tell you that we have the same people as theirs, because 2 people are the same. But when we first started in the committee, we were 6 people, and we decided we didn't discuss about what we should put on our stamps, like famous places, or insects, fruits, vegetables. We just all together unanimously we said, well, why don't we put some famous people, some recent success in 20th century Turkey? And we thought that it mustn't be only one category, only just football or sports. And we thought that we could use different fields from Turkey, different successes. And we chose, I regret to say, Süreyya, a popular runner these days, and Fazıl Say. You know Fazıl Say? No, okay. Not many people know in Turkey. And Kemal Sunal and Turkish Kemal. And our topic is 4 wonders of Turkey, because they have a great impact on Turkish society and maybe recent Turkish history deeply. And Süreyya is a runner, and Fazıl Say is a famous composer and pianist. Kemal Sunal is a famous actor who passed away many years ago. And Yaşar Kemal is one of the most eminent figures in Turkish literature. And I like to use the word eminent. I just learned 2 weeks ago. And of course we have some reasons why we have chosen these people, because people will ask us why have we chosen these people, and I have to tell the reason why I've chosen these for Turkey is that they have a great impact on Turkish society, ranging from sports to literature, like from film industry, all these things. And their reputation is it's undeniable, and I learned this. And another thing, we use these stamps for the prices. We don't like to write cents, but we wanted to write in Turkish currency system because in postal service to send a letter is cost about 350,000. So we decided to put Reyahan on the stamp because it's the most popular success these days and it's the easiest one. And we for 750,000 we put Sval side because not many people know and not many people send so many expensive postal services. That's why. And we just went on like that. And another thing about things that their reputation and the second reason, it's not about the stamps, but it's about we just want to emphasize the battle between the traditions and technology because people don't write letters these days, or they don't send things, they use yurt içi galiba maybe, but they just don't use postal services. And we wanted to encourage people to use postal services more and more, maybe if they see their famous or their popular, their favorite singer or composer, they can use postal services more. This is another reason. Another reason is that the quality is very good stamps, and it's cheap. It's really cheap, and to take people back to the past and to have some nostalgia. But Kemal Sunay passed away, and we still laugh at this person when we see his films on TV every day. And it is a good thing for you can collect them and you can put it in albums. And the last thing, it's not about the usage, but it's about the quality again. It's a scientific use, and it's been proved. It's even in our books, in our KPDS books. And so the more you lick the stamp, the more energy you get. You can get. You don't have to eat fruit or vegetable to get vitamin A because you can get the same energy by licking a stamp. This is another thing. If you like, you can just buy and lick it.
Any questions?
How much stamps do I have to get enough energy?
Like 4 stamps, if you buy Sreya, how much? The smaller one, 250. It's equal to energy in apple, green apple.
Okay.
No?
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks
I thought that 4 wonders of Turkey.
Colin, what's your real name?
Bulut.
Brute.
B-U-L-U-T.
Okay. Can I tell you that he was the most brilliant member of the committee? As you've noticed, he's quite talkative. And yet, on the committee, he hardly talked at all. And what he acted as the secretary to the committee. So what he was doing was taking notes and stimulating all of the other people on the committee to talk. And he was the controller of the group because he had the notepad and was writing things down. But he didn't dominate the group, and it was not his ideas which dominated the choice of stamps. All of the ideas came from the group. If you want to be a good group member, learn about the way that he behaves in groups. Well, Colin behaves in groups. Okay, that was superb. The business about the energy that you can get from stamps. No, it reminded me. I used to live in Italy, and within Italy, inside Italy, there is a very, very small country which is called the Republic of San Marino, which is actually an independent country with its own, not its own money, but with its own stamps and its own army. And it is a country with about 50,000 people. 50,000 people live in the country. I remember once I went to San Marino and I arrived on Army Day. And So I couldn't cross the road because all of the San Marino army was marching up the main street. And I had to wait for nearly 1.5 minutes for the whole army to... And I mean, it was as long as this because most of the people in the army were over 70 years old. But San Marino is a wonderful place, except for the food. I mean, generally speaking, San Marino is a place only for tourists. And it is in an area of Italy which produces superb food. But if you are in that area, don't eat in San Marino. Go outside and eat in the area around San Marino rather than in the city itself. They make most of their money by producing postage stamps, which collectors from all over the world want to collect their postage stamps. And on one occasion, getting back to your suggestion, they produced flavored postage stamps. So they had a honey-flavored postage stamp, apple, strawberry, mint, and so on, which was an interesting variation. I mean, they are constantly looking for new types of themes of postage stamps to have, because each time they issue a new set of postage stamps, then thousands of people from all around the world buy them in order to have this special set. Okay, 11th of the month, right. Anyone else, born before the 15th of the middle of the month? Who's doing the presentation? Okay, after the 15th of the month, between the 15th and the 31st. We've had 3 presentations so far, and there were 5 groups.
It doesn't have to be June.
No, it doesn't have to be June. Any month of the year. Anyone who was anyone who was born between 1900 and 2000.
That's me. Hello everyone. Well, in our committee, we thought of many ideas, of course. The greatest footballers, the greatest the greatest
Singers.
The singers, the greatest artists, etc., etc. And we finally came up with the conclusion that we would again choose the greatest places. And the title was The 4 Wonders of the Local World. Okay? And we put Hagia Sophia Museum on our 100% stamp. So why? Because it was the most significant, most popular, and it would be famous throughout the world, we thought. And after, we put Pamukkale Travertins for the 80-cent stamp. Why? Because it was unique. And it was a natural beauty, and we thought that everyone who knew about Turkey would know about Pamukkale Travertins. And after, for the 60-cent stamp, we chose again Cappadocia. Why? Because again, it was the center of history. And it was one of the wonders, most significant places of the world, we thought, as in of course. And for the 40-cent stamp, we chose Atakule. Why? Because it was a symbol of the modern Turkey, we thought. So these were the 4 most popular places we thought would be used on these stamps. So that was very quick, wasn't it? So does anyone have any questions? No. Yes.
No, title?
Title, 4 Wonders of the Local World. We wanted it to be different.
I think we had 4 groups so far, and 3 groups had the same title, 4 Wonders in 4 months.
No, please, be careful. We had people. That was the 4 what was it?
4 Wonders of the World.
Again.
No, sorry.
That was 4 Wonders of local world. So it has a different title. Okay.
So.
Okay, that's short and sweet. Did you notice, by the way, what's your name?
Tour guide.
Turgat. Okay.
Turgat.
Did you notice that Turgat actually gave you much more eye contact than anyone else?
Yeah.
I mean, he had notes in front of him, but he knew the contents of the notes, so he didn't constantly have to look down at the notes to check what he was saying. And I mean, that I think was a significant difference from the other presentations that you've had so far.
He often does this.
He
often does eye contact, I mean. Well, actually, he didn't write anything at all, he just beat it out there.
But I mean, when we are thinking about, you know, trying to improve the quality of the presentations, I mean, we're now thinking about the presentations which are done by our students. I mean, by the students that you teach. Teaching them about eye contact is something well worth, I mean, it is well worth drawing their attention to eye contact. Okay, we have the last group, I think. And who is going to be presenting from the last group? Have we had all the groups now? And have we had 5 presentations?
I think we have 2 people from the same group.
No.
But the title, Bulut and Ülke had the same title and the same...
Yes, I know, but it was, you know, you know the expression, great minds think alike. I think that, I mean, you just happen to have 2 brilliant groups there who happen to... yes, I mean, E equals MC squared was decided by one group, and the other group at exactly the same moment came to the same conclusion. Okay, it's 12:15. I think that it would be sensible to have a 2.5 minute break and then to come back here.
2.5 minutes? 1.5.
Okay, enough time that it takes to smoke a cigarette and then come back.
Which is
to
about
do
15 minutes.
Not at the speed that I smoke, no. But enough time to smoke a cigarette and then come back. And whilst you are away, what I would like you to do is reflect individually and with each other, reflect on what we have done so far this morning and its relevance to the classes that you teach. Okay? We haven't yet heard from the feedback from the observers. So that's one of the things that you can begin to get nervous about. Okay? So let's have a break of about 4 minutes. Good. Yeah.